This is not a lighting tutorial, but rather my learning experience on how to create a better look outside. None of the shots have got the exposure change in post to show how they actually look in the camera. I just used a simple color space transform in DaVinci to convert S-Log3 footage into Rec 709. So today I'm outside. I will try to build a shot in such a high sun. So at the moment is I think around noon. So the sun is at its highest. It was promised that it would be sunny all day, but it is sometimes sunny, sometimes cloudy. So I guess I got only one option to build that shot. So I will stand like that with the sun behind my back, because if I use the sun as my key light, that would change over time and that would change exposure. And if I have a sun behind me, that shouldn't be a problem, because I would use it as kind of the hair light. So it shouldn't be a problem. And I would probably use some external light in front of me to get the proper exposure on my face, and that's it. So only one light and one modifier for the sun. Should be easy, although it's quite windy, so might be kind of annoying and might be another test. And now the sun is out, so you can see that my hair is, or my head is really overexposed, while my face is underexposed. So I have to do something about this, and I will do this with a Scrim and external light, and I think that could work. But in these conditions, when the cloudiness is changing, there are clouds or no clouds, it's not possible to use sun as a key. So let's build the setup. And quite important information, to build this setup I have used almost 90 kilos of the ballast, because it won't be possible to stand all these light fixtures and all these Scrims without the ballast. So I used ballast bags, and these are actually shot bags. So with the steel inside them, it's better to have the steel than the sand. And it was almost 90 kilos of the bags. So keep this in mind, that you cannot build setup like this without the basic equipment, which are shot bags. Unfortunately, it got cloudy, really cloudy, but I have put up the Scrim. I'm not sure when the shadow is, but I think I'm under the shadow of it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I am at the moment. It's quite up, like 2.5 meters above the ground in horizontal position, and there is no external light at the moment. I have 85 millimeters lens at f2.8 and of course 180 degrees shutter angle, 25 frames per second, and I got 6 stops of ND to have this image. It looks okay on the screen, but I would check and it's S-Log3, and it seems that actually my face is properly exposed, so maybe I don't need an external light. I guess some light is bouncing from the building in front of me, but maybe I can go to 6 stops of ND, and then I have to expose my face with external light. You can see the Scrim there. Would be nice if the sun is shining directly, but at the moment it's not. So I hope I'm under the shadow. I'm probably am, but hard to say. Maybe I would check if there is a difference if I go outside of the shadow. My shot having been leveled. So now I think I'm not in the shadow of the Scrim, and I'm not sure there is a difference. It's probably there is a difference on my head. I don't see monitor that good in that position, but yeah, it's without the Scrim, but it's cloudy now, so I have to wait for the sun to go out. I hope I have the same frame now, but it's hard to say. But probably yes. So there, that part of my face is a bit overexposed, so maybe I will go to 6 or 7 stops, because now I'm at 6, sorry. So now it's 7 stops, and still like this part of my forehead is, I guess, a bit overexposed. But since the sun is shining from behind, maybe my skin is properly exposed, but my eye sockets are not, so I have to bring the light to be able to expose this shot properly. Yeah, so this is with 7 stops of ND. The background is really dark. I think that the stands are not in the shot, I hope, but I'm not 100% sure. They shouldn't be. And I'm shooting like in the diagonal of my backyard, so I'm shooting into the corner of the hedge. And it doesn't look bad, I think, but I think it would look better if I bring the light, and I hope it won't rain. So let me bring the light then. Okay, the sun is out for a moment. And yes, I'm in the shadow of the Scrim, barely, but yes, I'm in the shadow, but there are, these hotspots are probably some kind of the reflection. I already have a light there, and you can see that I got the sun on my hand if I put my hand up. So yeah, at the moment I'm in the shadow of the Scrim. For a second the sun is out of the clouds, so it's just shiny here. And now I will try to set up the light, and I got 7 stops of ND, which might be not enough. I wonder about this thing, but that might be the, I don't know, maybe just this my shiny skull, I don't really know. That might be a reflection in the Scrim, in the frame of the Scrim. Unfortunately the frame is silver. It would be better if it would be black, but I don't know what it is. But if I move, that doesn't disappear, so this is probably some kind of the bounce. Okay, so let me quickly set up the light. I have to move it the closest possible to myself. I can see if I'm in the shadow of the Scrim on the ground. Actually, I can see my head there, and if I move back, I'm in the screen. I'm in the shadow of the Scrim. So yeah. Okay, so, and unfortunately I got one stop diffusion, but maybe it's the better choice, I don't know. So this is at 100% 600D, and it doesn't seem that I'm overexposed, but I will check with the false colors. Maybe I am, but like the overexposed part is just this piece of my head, and the rest seems to be, I think, okay. So this is the shot with 1 stop diffusion, and I guess it looks better, except of this hotspot. It's kind of strange, and it's hard to judge on this Atomos screen in full sun. So I'll change it also. I will try to change the diffusion and see, maybe it would be better. And now the sun is still shining, and 7 stops of ND with the same settings, and that's the setup, and I think it looks better than the original setup, like 10 times better, but I have to judge it on the screen. So I haven't changed the diffusion yet. It is still the same. Maybe I should use stronger ND, but then my background would be totally dark because the background is in the shadow. So I still got this hotspot here, which is kind of annoying. And this without the light, and this with the light. So definitely looks better with the light, although I'm not sure. I'm not overexposed now. It doesn't seem so, except this small hotspot on my forehead. But other than that, I think that this setup looks much better than the original shot without the scrim and without the light. And I will try to put different diffusion, but then this light might be not powerful enough with 2 stops of diffusion. Okay, now I have 2 stops of diffusion on light dome 3. The sun is going under the big dark cloud, so the exposure would change. So this is with the 2 stops of diffusion, and I think I'm still exposed correctly, although like this part of my face is not. I wonder what actually is exposing my face that way. That is kind of strange that this part of my face is not exposed, even though I got a light here and I turn off the light. So I guess the sun is still exposing my forehead somehow, and this is the 2 stops of diffusion on a light dome 3 and 6 Aputure 600D at full power. So it seems it's not powerful enough with 7 stops of ND, but since the sun is going to be under the cloud, I would probably be able to change the ND, and if this is the FX6, it could like adjust the ND for the exposure, but this is just A7 IV, so I have to adjust the ND manually. The sun is already under the cloud because the shadow here is gone, but it's not the darkest cloud yet. It's going to be in the second probably. I wonder I can change the exposure of the ND already. So now it is 6 stops. And now maybe I'm even overexposed on my face. Maybe not. I will check with the false colors. Yeah, I'm overexposed on my forehead, it seems, but the rest of my face is properly exposed. And it seems it's +2, so it's hard to say. I mean, I have to invest in bigger field monitor, like probably this OC15S or OC22S. Like the exposure of half of my face is changing when I turn off the light. You can see this. It's not wrapping around actually. So at 6 stops, I think I'm probably overexposed here anyway. Maybe I have to move the screen forward. Maybe that's the solution. Let me try. I kind of doubt it. I think it's the same thing, but so I think that in these conditions I have to use 7 stops of ND. And now, yes, now the sun went under this huge dark cloud. So the exposure, maybe now 6 stops would be okay. Let's see. Not really. There is still this here, the overexposed patch, but of course Stylus link disconnected. It's kind of annoying. So with 6 stops, I think I'm overexposed. Now I turn on the light and this creates this overexposed pattern on my forehead. So both the scream and the light create the overexposed patch here, but when I look on the screen with the light, it seems kinda okayish, so I'm not 100% sure. So this is with 6 stops of ND, big dark cloud, so the sun is not shining through with full power, and I got Aputure 600D at full blast with 2 stops of diffusion, and this is the shot, which I think looks kinda okay or great. And what about 7 stops? Now 7 stops and it looks too dark now, I think. Yes, I mean, at least on this Atomos screen it looks too dark. The sun is peeking through the clouds, so yeah, that's the look. I think I'm going to bring the Godox anyway to see the difference. Now I brought the Godox 600Bi. It is actually on, but probably at 12% or something. So I have to change the app and reconnect to it. The sun is under this dark cloud, and I have 7 stops of ND. And still, it looks like this part of my forehead is overexposed. I guess I cannot help it. This is just the... So it is at 12%, and now it is at 100%, but I have a grid on it. I will remove the grid in a second, but this is F600Bi with the grid. Maybe it should be higher, probably. Yeah, so now it is with the grid kinda to my right, and for some reason light went to 47% instead of 100, and I don't know, maybe this hotspot is because there are some reflections in the clouds, so maybe actually the clouds bounce the light back on my forehead, I don't know. But now the Godox F600Bi is at 100%, but with the deep custom-made grid. So I will remove the grid in a second, and the position I think is now better. I will remove the grid and recheck the shot, and it is with 7 stops of ND. Okay, so the grid is removed. The custom one is really easy to remove. So let me try it now at about 100%. And yes, this light is really nice, although it is kinda blinding me. But even though I got the Scrim, I'm squinting my eyes even when the light is not on. That means that there is a lot of ambient light, and still this hotspot is kinda annoying. So maybe I could get a cap to see if it's any better. Let me get something I can wear on my head. Probably Sony struggles to find my face. Hard to say, this screen is so dim. So not sure this light would help. Let me check. So no, it's not that great. I mean, I can train to expose the face properly with the cap, but at least I don't have this ugly hotspot on my forehead. And this is Godox F600Bi at 100%, 7 stops of ND, and the sun is under the cloud, but like this white fluffy cloud, so a lot of is shining through. So maybe this is actually better. if I wear it like that, so there is some shadow on my forehead, but I think my eye sockets are exposed properly. I don't know, hard to say. Let me turn the false colors. Probably not. No. Actually, my eye sockets are in the shadow all the time. Even now. So now my forehead is exposed, but there is no hotspot anymore, like this, which was 2 stops over. Now it's just 1.5, something like that. So this is probably the proper exposure. Now there is a hotspot, this white logo, but other than that, yeah, now my face is underexposed, although maybe compared to what is behind me, it's not that bad. Under the harsh sun, it's not that harsh, but now it is like almost shining directly because this cloud is very, very thin. So that's the shot with 600Bi. It's with the one layer of diffusion, so I can remove that diffusion and see. Maybe that's a good idea. Now the diffusion is gone from 600Bi, F600Bi. So that gives like, I don't know, it's supposed to be one-stop diffusion, but it measured with the light meter is like 1/3, maybe half of the stop more without the diffusion. So it looks like that without the cup like that. And it is at 100%, 5600 Kelvin. I think that 600-watt fixtures are not enough to expose properly under the sun. I mean, it's on the verge, it's okay, but could be better. So if I want more diffusion from that light, then it's not enough. But without the diffusion, it is enough, I'd say. So that's the shot. Yeah, so I'll probably remove the Scrim and see what is the shot with the light. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. So let me do it. Okay, now I have removed the Scrim and it's not that bad because the sun is behind the cloud, but even though I got ugly hot spots all over my head, it is kinda because of my hairline. So with the cup maybe it's not that bad. And if I turn on the Godox, but for some reason I'm standing in a different place, so yeah, there are ugly hotspots. If I got a cup, it's not that bad. It's not that bad, but then my face is not properly exposed, so I have to like angle this somewhat. So definitely the Scrim helps. The Scrim is now disassembled, and this is Godox F600Bi without diffusion, but it has built-in diffusion because the weather protection layer is a diffusion, so already the LEDs are diffused. So that's the shot without the Scrim, and that's the shot without the light. And I still wonder what is that hotspot. What is probably light bounced from the cloud, or it is the loud, actually the light, probably the light going from the sky, which is really high up behind me, and it shines in my skull. That's probably it, because when I move my head, you can see that this smooth, and actually the sun moved a bit, so that's why it is now, it is actually this actually directly the sun shining on my skull. And when it was with the Scrim, it was a bit better because Scrim was diffusing it, although this Scrim is like 1 1/4 of the stop, I think. So there is still some specularity to the light it produces, and this is with the Godox F600Bi. So yeah, I think that actually that experiment was successful, that the shot with the light and with the Scrim is much better than shot without it, but probably with more powerful fixture it would be even better. But this with Aputure 600D and Godox F600Bi, I think both are on a verge of the proper exposure. That's the shot I'm able to create. And now without the Scrim, you can also see that I got plenty of bright light on my neck and side of my face. So definitely with the Scrim it looked better. So I guess that's it for today. Two successful experiments.
After reviewing the footage on the big screen, I know that the hotspot on my forehead is just a reflection of the sunlight, which is diffused by the Scrim. When the sun is that high, it will reflect in the bald spot even when it is on the forehead. Very useful information, especially that some of my potential customers are men with such a bald spots. This part of the Scrim should be flagged either with net or even neck to prevent this from happening. Regarding the general exposure, 7 stops of ND created underexposed images, but this can be fixed in post. I wouldn't probably risk 6 stops unless it is cloudy all the time. With 6 stops, sometimes highlights on my forehead were overexposed to the degree I couldn't bring the details back in post. Of course, this is true for S-Log3, f2.8, 25 frames per second, ISO 800 and 180-degree shutter, so 1/50. Both lights, Aputure 600D with Light Dome 3 and Godox F600Bi, are able to expose my face correctly in these external lighting conditions, although it's better to use one-stop diffusion with Light Dome 3 to be on the safe side. Also, one-stop diffusion looks more like the real sun. But treat this revelation with a grain of salt. This has been shot in Poland during summer. My city is 53rd degree of latitude in the northern hemisphere. The lighting condition will be different on the equator, on the tropics or Arctic Circle. So generally stronger light, like 1200 watt, would be a better choice, especially if you want to light more than one person, or at least 2 600 watt fixtures. I hope this is helpful, and cheers, mate!